What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. We're going to start with a kind of obscure story, but I think it's one that should be interesting to the team. So, every year for the last 5 years, there's something called Tight End University. This was started by George Kittle, Travis Kelsey, and Greg Olsen, who's no longer in the league. Great commentator, though, where basically tight ends from various teams come together. They just commune as tight ends. They do film study, they break down techniques, they connect with each other, and that whole idea is like iron sharpening iron. Defensive linemen do the same thing too. Aaron Donald used to do it. Von Miller used to do it. I don't think Von does it anymore, and Aaron Donald's not in the league anymore. I think he's just chilling, being buff. But the reason I brought this up is because two of our tight ends on the Dolphins are at Tight End University. One is going to be Farrell Brown, and one is Jalen Conyers. Now, neither of these guys is expected to be our like number one tight end, but the idea that they're trying to better their skill set by doing specific tight end work, I think is a great thing because you never know what you can pick up being around great tight ends. It could be little things about how you get off the line, how you set your blocks. It could be even something in film study. We all watch film, but maybe you're watching the wrong action on the D line or the linebacker or what have you. Even how you get in and out of breaks. I mean, Travis Kelsey, to a lot of people, is the best tight end of all time. George Kittle is probably the best current tight end, and then Greg Olsen, very solid, multiple time Pro Bowler tight end. Like these guys have actual pedigree. Kelsey, 3-time champion. Like they have real pedigree. They're really good. And if you can take any bit of, let me be around these great players, and then bring that back to my team, it could even be mindset. It's not necessarily about, oh, now I'm better at blocking the defensive end because I got to watch Travis Kelsey do it. That may not be what you take away from it. It may be the mentality of how does Travis Kelsey think when he's on the field? Because you would only know that if you talk to him or if you're at Tight End University. During the year, he's not going to tell you because he's trying to gain an advantage. He obviously wants to win. But in this forum, it's a chance for you to come in, ask questions like, hey, man, how do y'all play for Travis Kelsey's going on 34, I believe? Like, hey, how do you play in the league for 13 years, though? Like, I'm trying to get to where you get to. And just the mindset, the coaching of it, and of course, the refinement of skills. I'm here for everyone getting better at all their skills at all the time. So I'm here for this. I think it's awesome. And hopefully, it pays some dividends during the season. Now, I take some not obsession. I take some exception with the phrasing of this article. It was saying basically that Malik Washington is going to be the secret weapon for the Dolphins next year, but he played last year, so I don't know how much of a secret weapon he is. I think he will be used a lot more. It can definitely be a bigger part of the offense. Secret weapon seems like we drafted this guy you don't know about, or you never even heard of what's going to happen next. We know who he is. And I think we didn't use him fully, and part of that was due to the emergence of Jonnu Smith, who we'll get to in a few. Some of it was Tua being out, and some of it was just him not getting the ball. A lot of times he got open. There's multiple instances, if you look at the film of when he played last year, that he beat his man off the line and was open, and then didn't get the ball. So we see his stats, and you're like, oh, he didn't play well last year. But if you watch the film, his get off the line and get open rate, super high, like top 10 in the games he played. Really good at getting open, very sudden, very quick. And he has like punt return skills as a wide receiver. And what that means is like when you're a punt returner, like everything's happening fast. Lanes close quickly. You gotta make quick decisions, foot in the ground, get upfield, positive yardage. You can't be running around in circles. It's very precise. He has some of that in him when he catches the ball because he's not a big guy. So he doesn't have the luxury of catching the ball and just truck sticking people. He gets the ball. I got to figure out how to get down. I got to find my way to wiggle in here, get 2 or 3 more yards here. He is honestly, I think, the right complement to a normal 3-receiver set for the Dolphins. We have 2 other outside fast receivers. He's smaller than both of them, not nearly as fast as them, but probably gets open a little bit quicker. Because Tyreek and Jalen Waddle get open because DBs just simply back up. They just don't want to get beat deep. Malik is not really trying to beat you deep. You could be right in front of him, and he just little shoulder things, little hand motion. He just gets open quicker. And because we always want to get the ball out quick, he has a premium in our offense. Now, we do have the issue of Nick Westbrook-Akine, who is trying to be our third receiver, who has a completely different skill set than Malik, where he's trying to get downfield and go up. I think there will be a time and a place where that is more useful. I think, especially later in the year, for sure in the red zone. But just to keep drives going, because Miami, we didn't have a ton of big plays last year. Some of that again is Tua. Some of that is defense is playing too high shells where you just have safeties really far back. So you can't throw a 7-yard bomb when it's two deep safeties unless you just want to throw a pick. So we're going to have to depend on matriculating the ball down the field. A number of first downs, 4 or 5, 6 first downs, 3 to 4 to get in field goal range, 5 or 6 to try to score a touchdown. And what you need is 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 4th and 1 and 2. Can you get open quick, get the ball, and get down? Tyler Lockett is the best I've seen of that in my, I don't know, probably 10, 15 years watching football. A dude that just gets open and then gets down. I don't think Tyler Lockett has gotten lit up once in the last 5 years. I know he got lit up some years back, but he gets the ball and gets down. Malik, to me, has a lot of that in him. I think Tyler Lockett was probably faster than him. But the idea that he's just I'm not too big, not too fast, not too quick, but I'm a little bit of all those things. And when you combine it, you have a really slippery, difficult to cover receiver who can get the ball, get down, not get blown up. I think Malik, if we fully unlock him, can be that Wes Welker type. And I know it's a sore spot because we fired Coach Welker last year. But a Wes Welker type, a Julian Edelman type, where in a short yardage situation, absolute menace. I would love to see his whole playbook open up. I want to see him on reverses. I want to see him on screens. I don't know if he can throw the ball, but if there's receiver pass situations, however we can get the ball in his hand, because all the attention is going to be on our top two. We know that. This is what the last few years have been. And if he's going to get 3rd, sometimes 4th corner coverage, I mean, that's barbecue chicken, right? So I think if we can write more plays for him, get him schemed up more to get the ball and just kind of get him out of space. 5 to 6 targets a game, send him in motion a handful of times. Maybe we give him the ball a couple times, maybe we don't, just to keep him engaged in the offense. I think he can, at some point in the year, really be impactful. And of course, if either of the two guys goes down, he immediately ascends to a possible fantasy football kind of guy. If he's a number 2 receiver, knock on wood, if Waddle's not around and it's just Tyreek and now Washington's our number 2 receiver, I think he's can get busy. 8 to 10 catches, near 100 yards. I think he can really become a really productive player if an injury happens. If no injury happens, I just think he could be a really critical 3rd and 4th down guy, really dependable across the middle, quick out, quick slant, comeback route kind of guy. I do think he can be a very useful weapon. Secret weapon sounds a bit, that's a lot. But I do think he could be a better part of the offense. And we're still dealing with the Jonnu Smith situation. I know, I mentioned him earlier. As of now, standoff. There's no impending trades lingering. All that Steelers talk felt like it was just kind of fabricated. Once Aaron Rodgers got signed on, I haven't heard anything about Jonnu Smith. Tennessee, not really looking at him. And now the league is kind of just we're in OTAs right now. There's still some trades to be made. I don't see a big trade happening where he gets super desirable to anybody. So I think he's kind of playing a waiting game, and so are we, because again, he's under contract. So he can only wait so long before there's penalties to him not playing. And I think the Dolphins at some point will want to do well by him. I do think all of this is hinging on a Jalen Ramsey situation. I think Ramsey being traded, and then most likely Rasul Douglas coming in, and then whatever money we have left, I think that's how that chain of command is going to go. We're going to let Ramsey go, hopefully not to bite off as much of his contract as we can. Bring in Rasul. I was seeing numbers for Rasul Douglas 1 year, $4 to $6 million. That's way lower than I thought it would be, but we'll see if it stays like that. And then if there's any residual, hey, let's throw a couple dollars at Jonnu. And then if you ball this year, extension for next year. That's where I think we're going to end up going with this whole situation. But it is very much a standoff right now. Drew Rosenhaus has been notorious for, he gets his guys money. Like him or love him, call him a snake, whatever. Maybe he's just a super agent. However you want to break down Drew Rosenhaus, his guys get money. And he's not afraid to make him stink about it. Now, Drew Rosenhaus also represents Tyreek Hill. So he can't go too crazy, because if he starts doing too much on a Jonnu trade and contract, when he wants to get Tyreek a new deal next year, which we know he wants to get Tyreek a new deal, you don't want to burn the bridge with a team that you need to negotiate with going forward. So I do think what's protecting the Dolphins to some degree is that we're not getting full venom Drew Rosenhaus. He's not tearing the team down saying, oh, they're trying to demean my player. He's not doing all that stuff. He's like, hey, the team granted us a chance to go see what Jonnu can get in the open market, and he really wants to be here. He's saying all the right things. He's keeping the bass out of his voice. We've seen Drew just be he's keeping the bass out of his voice because he wants to get Tyreek a 2 to 3 year extension at somewhere between, I would say, 60 and probably 75 million. So if that's what he's looking to do with Tyreek, calm down. And I think Miami knows that, and they're just saying, yeah, go out there and see what you got out there, John. We'll see what you got. We don't think it's much out there. We'll see about giving you a couple million more. But as of now, still very much a standoff. That's something we're going to implement going forward on these podcasts. Like, it's not a podcast, it's a web show, whatever. One of the things we're going to implement going forward is answering some of the viewer questions in email. I post content on IG, TikTok, and obviously here on YouTube. And no matter where I am, Dolphin fans hop in, and we start kind of going back and forth a little bit. Some of them love what I'm doing, like, yo, keep it a good word, I'm a big fan. Some of them are like, yo, you hating on Tua too much. Hey, man, get off Tyreek's back. Bring it on. I'm here for it because that's what the community is. I'm not going to say everything you want me to hear. I'm a fan, but I'm not like a homer to the sense that I don't see the game objectively. And I'm also not going to just blow smoke up it. If I don't think it's going to work, I don't think it's going to work. Y'all know how I feel about Quinn Ewers. Zach Wilson. 10 toes. So if I don't like something, I don't like it. If I like it, I love it. So we're going to answer questions from time to time. We're going to start with a couple today. And going forward, if you have questions, hit me up on all those platforms, YouTube, IG, all that good stuff. And if it's a good question, I'll bring it to the show. So one of the questions I got was, is there a scenario where Coach McDaniel keeps his job and the Dolphins don't make the playoffs? Right? Can he keep his job if the Dolphins don't make the playoffs? And my immediate reflex was no chance. Right? Year 4, made the playoffs 2 years, then missed it last year. Greer's on a hot seat. Nah. Playoffs are bust. You're not keeping a job. No chance. Then I sat and thought about it a little bit more, and I said, there's only one scenario where I can see him getting in, and it's almost like the Matt Castle year with the Patriots. You guys remember, this is like way back. This is almost, 15 years ago, like 07, 08 maybe, where Tom Brady gets knocked out, ACL tear, and then Matt Castle comes in, and the Patriots go 11-5. But they missed the playoffs because of tiebreaker, divisional record kind of thing. But 11-5 is a great record, and 9 out of 10 years that gets you in the playoffs. I think that's the only scenario where Coach McDaniel keeps his job by not making the playoffs if the Dolphins lose Tua early in the year, week 1 through 4, mad early. And then we end up winning 10 or 11 games, but just because of how the AFC shakes out, we don't make the playoffs, but we're 10-7, maybe even 11-6. But we have an upstart from New England. Obviously, we know the AFC West might get 3. The AFC North could get 2 or 3. And all of a sudden, we're the odd person out because we have the same record as like Cincinnati and, the Colts. And we play both those teams. So maybe just in the head-to-head, we lose those games, but keep the same overall record. And it's like, they won 11 games and Tua only played in 2 of them. Man, coach did his job. I can see him keeping his job that way because that's basically a playoff team that just got screwed by the record. It's like Minnesota last year. I think had the second best record in the NFC, but was a 5 seed because Detroit had the best record, and they're in the same division. So that's just how it worked out. That's the only scenario where I can see him keeping his job. If he does, obviously, objectively, a great coaching job, again, 10, 11 wins. I'm not talking 9-8, you win over 500. Nah. At least 10, maybe even 11 wins, but you don't get the playoffs because of head-to-head wins. And then they say, hey, you lost your quarterback. You won all those games. The team was in the right direction. You didn't implode in November and December. You actually played well down the stretch. You did a good job. You just didn't get in the playoffs. I think that's the only scenario where he keeps his job. Good question, though. Okay. And last question of the day. What matchup what matchup are the Dolphins favored in that you're afraid of them losing? Okay. I've mentioned this before, and it's only because of the specter of everything. The only matchup that falls in that category that I'm like legitimately afraid to play is if the Dolphins play Cleveland the week that Shedeur becomes a starter. And some of that is that I'm a Shedeur fan. I've told y'all this before. I thought Dolphins were going to draft him. But part of it is that I just think sometimes a team and a city can uplift a player, especially a young player. I mean, he's going to have the whole support of the city. There'll be, detractors, what have you. But when they say he's starting and this is his game, he's at home, I think the crowd is going to be electric. The fanfare is going to be out of control. And Cleveland's defense has been good for years. We know Myles Garrett is a game wrecker. We all know it. It's a two-person job, sometimes three. Very annoying. Denzel Ward, awesome corner. We all know that, right? So because we know they have the big names on defense, they play really good defense, they have been a really good running team. We'll see how the Rook plays this year because Nick Chubb's not on the team anymore. But if they keep the same running concepts and scheme and they can run the ball well, we know they can control the ball. We know their defense is really good. And my biggest concern is that it'll be a late in the game situation. It's like fourth quarter, maybe score 17-20, Cleveland has the ball, and they're driving to go tie or win the game. That's my doomsday scenario because I'm terrified, one, of our defense being up against the wall with that level of pressure, and then our secondary having to win the game, basically. I don't love that situation. And I've seen Shedeur, because again, I watched every Colorado game since he was there. All of them. I've seen him late in games turn into, there's a notch he goes up in. I don't want to see him go up a notch. I've seen him just lock in, shield defenders, make throws, make passes that I didn't think he could make, in bad elements, on the road. I've seen him do it. And I don't want that with the crowd egging him on and with the pressure on our secondary to be like, hey, you got to go stop him. I don't like how that sets up. If we have the ball down and Tua can go score to win or, tie the game, I'm fine. I think the defense is great, but I think you give Coach McDaniel 4 downs to consistently move the ball late in the game, we'll scheme it up. We'll probably stay away from Denzel, work the other side of the field. I'm okay with that. But if we have to stop them and that crowd is going and Shadeur's confidence starts going up a little bit and the crowd is chanting his name or something, I just don't want any part of that scenario because it's the perfect game to lose. And this happens every year. We've seen the Colts beat the Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl. We saw the Raiders beat Baltimore last year. We've seen Carolina come this close to beating Philadelphia last year. We've seen it where it just starts to all right, it's an 8-point game in the third. Oh, they got a field goal, 5-point game. Oh, they get the ball late in the game. We've all seen it happen before. And I don't want to be in a situation where it's hey, defense, go win us the game. Right in the middle of the year where we're probably still trying to figure some stuff out in the secondary. I don't love the situation. That scares me the most. So I'm hoping that, nothing comes to pass, but I got fears. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Keep sending us comments. We love to answer them, and we can talk them out on the channel. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.